Welcome everybody. A lot of people in here today. For the guys who've been here, Jim and I are, and Derek Clancey, Emily and Cammi are super excited to join the Vancouver Canucks here and be part of this staff. I'm a big believer if we're going to have success as an organization, this department is going to contribute to the success. All the hard work you guys have done leading up to this meeting here and the final list, I want to thank you for that. The last couple of years, obviously with the pandemic, it's been a challenge and it's been tough for you. We have our first round pick, we don't have a second. Anything could happen from now up to the draft, so I want you guys to be prepared. I don't think we're happy missing the playoffs, and we need to get better. And in order to get better, everything starts here, how we prepare ourselves and how detailed we are for the meetings, but also how we work. We're competing against the other 30 teams. They want to get better, and we want to get better. It's important to get the staff together. This was the first time I met with the amateur staff, all of them at the same time. I wanted to have a sense of how the group worked and getting the list in order, preparation for the draft.
For us coming in as a new management team, just getting everybody in the same room, getting to know them on a deeper level by spending that much time with them, by hearing their opinions, it was very informative.
Do you think his skating and quickness in tight areas is good enough right now?
All I ever see him do is shoot.
Yeah.
I think this kid could be both winger and center.
Yeah, he's got the good details of his game. You know, he doesn't really, like I've seen him quite a few times this year and I was never really impressed. I actually had the other guy ahead of him for some of the season. I think it was a grind, like it always is, and you know, a lot of good conversation about players and debates and people getting excited, and I thought that our group did a good job and we're prepared, and long days in the boardroom, banging the table for guys, and I thought our guys did a real good job.
Going into the meeting, I think it was more for me to encourage them to speak up and have the discussions and have the questions about the players and make sure we get the list in order and make sure we project what the player will be down the road, not what the player is today. You guys believe that the skating is not it's more strength related than stride related?
It's never going to be Queen U skating, but skating is not going to be holding back in any way, because his brain is so good, it makes up for it, but he's never going to be a guy that's going to hang his hat on his skating. It's
really important for our guys to trust their gut feelings and also have the wherewithal to understand where the player is going to be, not who he is today. You know, it's not an easy task, but you really have to trust your gut. And I think there were times where you really saw scouts go to bat for a player they were passionate about, and those are the ones that excite us.
There's some good players in this draft. I think it's deeper than people think it is, and you know, you're going to get a good player in the mid-rounds here. We're going to do our best to get the best player available for the Vancouver Canucks, and we want to make sure that we're doing our best and to make sure we're feeding players into the system.
If we drafted him and get him to Abbotsford and do everything there to make him become a pro and then be ready to take the step here, that's what I would do.
Just drawing from their leadership and the communication. Patrik's really, really good at understanding how to communicate and lay out what he's expecting. And it, of course, change is hard, but this is the direction we're going to go. And I think Patrik's very clear about that. And I think the scouts really responded to that and are excited about moving forward.
They have a different vision for us here, and we're all in the learning process. And I think that you know, they're going to let us do our job, and we're out there in those arenas and watching games and putting the list together as best we can. And they gave us a lot of advice, and I think it was received very well. And I think it's only going to make us better.
The biggest thing for me is to surround myself and my staff with quality people that have a different background and they can contribute. I'm excited with the staff we have, and I think everybody brought some really good things to the meeting. I believe that you need the best player available incredible. The reality of this part of the game is that a lot of those players is going to be, 2 to 5, 6 years away till they play for a club. So every single player has their own path, and I don't think you ever can have enough good players in your system. So I think it's important for our staff to be open-minded and just focus on getting the list in order and make sure we adding prospects to our pipeline.
It's a big part of the process of the whole picture. We watch these guys throughout the season, and we know what number they are and which way they shoot. But it's good to get them into the situation and really get to know them as a person.
Looking forward to the testing?
I am.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's not something lots of guys are looking forward to, but I think if you have the good mentality, you'll do really well.
Nice. What do you foresee as sort of the journey for you? Like, do you think it's a couple more years in junior and then right into the NHL lineup? Do you think it's going to be faster than that? Like, how do you perceive your next few years?
I think it's gone really well. I think all the guys have interviewed well. It's been a great experience for us to identify what we think we know about the player and what we actually know about the player. I think it's been really critical for us to dig deeper into the person themselves, and when we're getting our order done towards the draft, it'll really help us get our proper evaluation. I was asking more personally for me about how they see them as a player, how they see themselves, how they will adapt to adversity, things don't go their way when they turn pro, where they see their role as an NHL player down the road, just things like that I think it's good to get a handle on where they view themselves as players.
Do you think you're a better centerman or a better winger, or what would you prefer to be as an NHL player?
I would prefer to play center. I feel more dominant in the middle of the ice, controlling both zones of the ice, and I feel a lot more responsible on my defensive side of the puck, playing off the piles, being physical, making it hard for teams to score goals.
I want to know what player they think they are and who they kind of look up to, but also another one is confidence. I asked them what it means to them, and there's been some good answers.
The NHL clubs realize how difficult it's been on these players, but I think they have a lot of respect for this draft class, just the way they've handled themselves. For this draft class, we missed the underage year. The Combine this year takes on a particular importance. They want to get to know as much about the player as they can. You can only watch so much video from the past. This is going to be a very unpredictable draft year.
The draft is like the absolute bloodline for our team. I mean, yes, you can acquire players in different ways, but we've got to draft really well to have a successful team. We need those foundational pieces that come out of a draft every year. They really help make championship teams.